Hello and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live. My name is Mitch Case. I am going to be your host today. I'm also the co-founder of my wife and I's business, More Than a Meal, where we work with organizations to help them strengthen their relationships with their most valued team members by showing gratitude and appreciation, one meal at a time. We come at you every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time with the purpose to highlight individuals and organizations that are just doing business the right way. They've worked hard day in and day out, and we want to highlight those individuals in a way that truly builds up the team members and the community around them. Today's guest is nothing short of amazing from a few conversations and multiple contacts that I have heard from that have highly recommended him. So what we are going to do today, we're going to bring him on here in just a little bit. But before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, True Captive. They believe in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. So if you do want to learn more about this unique captive healthcare program, go ahead and reach out to them at truecaptive.com. If you can't find the website, just shoot me a message. I'd be happy to get you connected with them, and very appreciative of all the efforts that they have made to make this show possible. So with that, I'm not going to hide him any longer. I'm going to go ahead and welcome Aaron Zack to the stage of Sunlight. Aaron, welcome to More Than a Business Live.
Thanks, Mitch. So good to be here.
Awesome. Well, before we jump into our first segment here, I do want to ask anybody that is watching live, let us know where you're watching from. What platform? Are you YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn? Let us know what city you're in as well. We always like to see that. And as conversation continues between Aaron and I, go ahead and shoot in some questions or comments, and we'll be sure to bring those up throughout the conversation. We'll try to answer those. This is tends to be a pretty rushed experience through this, but go ahead and comment in. We'd be happy to see if we can't do that. So before we jump into that impact story, Aaron, go ahead and tell us just a little bit about who you are, Sunlighten, and what it is that you do within Sunlighten.
Sure. My name's Aaron Zack. I am the CEO of Sunlighten. We are a global leader in light science. We have a patented technology that allows us to provide a precise combination of red and infrared light that really enhances health benefits. So it allows our customers, our people, to live better, do more, and be full.
I love that. Speaking all of the language as as a former engineer, like I'm all over that, the light and lumens and all the things. I don't pretend to be an electrical engineer, but I understand the work that you guys do. So much appreciated on that. The impact story that we talk every single time is, what is something that you have done, Aaron, or something that Sunlighten has done that has directly impacted a team member of yours or potentially even a community member?
Yeah, I love this question. And over the close to 25 years that we've been in business, I feel like we've had so many, so it's hard to select just one. Today we're 280 global associates. And I think back of, I think we've had 5 associates that found their partners and got married through our company.
No way. Like within the organization?
Within the organization. New homes that have been built. But one that I think I'd like to highlight today is kind of special for me personally. So my first time I went to Vietnam and we were setting up a production facility. We had a production manager at a different company. His name was Tu Yen Wen, and was doing fantastic stuff and helping us build up our product. And I don't understand Vietnamese or anything of the sort, but I could tell he was getting yelled at and it wasn't a good situation.
Yeah.
And so I pulled him aside and I said, come work for us. And so fast forward, 3 years later, he was in production, but he became our production manager for our company. And why it's such an impact story for me is as I got to know him so much more, he's become such an integral part of our company and allowing us to meet the needs of our consumers. He came from a home where he was basically living in the jungle, had very little money I came back, I saw him driving a car, which in Vietnam, everyone rides motorbikes and it's very unsafe. I saw him purchase his first home. So the impact that we've been able to make in this individual, which is going to basically change generations, is something that really speaks near and dear to my heart.
I mean, just from the impact that you've been a matchmaker, which I'm sure is not what you had planned on when you were writing down the business plan on certain number of marriages that you wanted to make happen. But just the story, you know, I've worked with individuals in other countries, and always like a challenge from a language barrier, or maybe not as far along as far as the country may be. Like, what kind of challenges have you faced from, like, when we're talking keeping congruency across your company, almost like when you're talking with an individual from Vietnam to, obviously like here in the US, like what kind of challenges have you guys faced from that perspective?
It's so many different challenges. The culture is real and different. How you interact with an American is very different than how you interact with someone overseas. So with someone overseas, they're very proud, and so you're definitely there's a hierarchy that's involved, and they
Mm,
want to make sure that they're respectful. But at the same time, in America, someone's going to say, no, this is a really bad idea. Versus in Asia, they're not going to say that because they don't want to insult you.
mm.
And so they'll say, yes, this is great. We should do it. So you really have to figure out how to get to the truth of what really matters, because it's not going to be overt and they're not going to be blunt, as we are here in America.
Yeah, I have experienced that as well. And one, I love being a yes man almost to a fault, but have experienced some of those conversations as well, where it can be really it can hype you up really good because you think you have all these amazing ideas, but the culture from that side of things is very, as you mentioned, the hierarchy side, even just from an age perspective.
Sure.
So interesting pieces. I definitely want to dive in deeper with that. As we kind of transition to the next part of the show, we really kind of highlight your organization. The show, our show is called More Than a Business, and what we have found is like the leaders and the companies that we get to have conversations with have gone above and beyond to make sure that their organization is a desired place to be. So maybe tell us a little bit about Sunlighten and the things that truly make your company more than a business.
Sure. And I spent a lot of time preparing and thinking, what can I communicate, and how do we differentiate, from what's being done. And so, I'm actually going to kind of change this a little bit, if you
Let's
allow,
go. I like it.
because there's things that we do. Sure, we provide. We're a health and wellness company. That's really who our DNA is. So, everyone or other businesses may have a fitness facility, or we provide healthy lunches for our associates, but that's not what I
Yeah.
really want to talk about. So how are we more than a business? I think it's who we are.
Okay.
And what I mean by this is, so I've been blessed. We sell infrared saunas, and infrared saunas make individuals feel better, lead healthier and happier lives. And so when we talk about how are we more than a business, every time we make a sale to a person, right, we're really making an impact in their life. and
Mm,
and that's what
mm.
I think resonates with our employee base, that is so different than any other business, and that's what makes us special. And we have brought these amazing individuals together, our associates, who are all so passionate about what we do and the
Yeah.
impact that we're making with our customers. And so that's how we're more than a business, because we're making this world a better place.
Well, and I mean that falls so far into like Simon Sinek's, people buy why you do it, not what you do. I totally butchered that, but the concept of it in general is understanding, what what's going to motivate me day in and day out, as a team member of yours. Like, this is not being my business. I always kind of tell people, like, just because maybe you're looking for a new job or something along those lines because you're tired of what you do, you're not purpose driven around it. Not every single job has to be the one that's like saving all the puppies in the world type scenario. It can just be the flexibility. It can be the opportunities that you have for growth. And it could literally be, as you just mentioned, potentially saving lives, like helping them live longer, healthier, happier lives. Like, that is obviously a very huge motivator in a lot of people. And being able to iron down to the T on this is like why we do what we do and what truly makes us more than just the profit that comes through when we sell one of these boxes. This box literally is changing somebody's life and you have a part of that. I love that. I'm gonna bring in here. Rachel just mentioned that she's a huge fan of you and Connie and the great leadership. So Rachel, thank you so much for tuning in and saying hi.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, Aaron, how do you, and I want to kind of talk as far as like first new hire, first day on the job. How do you portray to them what you just said to me is that like this is not a box of sauna. This is like life changing, healthy habits that you can create. Like, how do you instill that to go all the way and permeate all the way through the organization? And then I'll kind of add to that too. Like you said, global. How do you continue to do that with your global audience where you're not able to be there every single day?
Yeah, it starts with our core values. And so it's funny, when we first started the company, we had really cool core values. But guess what? They didn't really resonate. They weren't really who we were. And so it was a couple of years ago, our CMO at the time, Melissa Novak, was like, is this really, what you're trying to say? Because I don't think this is who your DNA is. So we spent a ton of time, we enrolled our associates, and we redid all of our core values. So now, one of our core values is embrace wellness, be true, raise the bar higher, celebrate big wins. And I think it all starts with that. So if your core values really do mean something, and in every single interview, we talk about what those core values are with the associate, because you can be the best, you can be the brightest, you can be the smartest. If you don't resonate to our core values, then you'll find a great career somewhere else, but not with Sunlighten. And I think that's the big factor. So every single interview, we talk about the core values. If I'm running the interview, it's the first thing I start with. And if it's not something that we're aligned on, then hey, like, let's find you a home where you'll be really, really happy, but it doesn't need to be here, because the individuals here, we all have that same passion and excitement for these core values. And that's how it cascades down to whether it's in London or India or in Asia.
I just want to point out the fact that you use the word during the interview and not during onboarding. I think that has always been so, and it's definitely changed over time, at least from what I have seen. But it's less about maybe the skill level, although there are certain situations where that skill level needs to be there, and more on do you actually fit in and align with what those core values are? And I know that's what the core values have always intended to be, but I have seen other organizations that get them into the door to fill that seat, and then they talk about this is what our core values are, and then all of a sudden that's where things go south. So I just really wanted to point out what I heard through that, Aaron, was from the first interview, the first time I'm having a conversation with this person, we're starting here, we'll get to the other stuff, but this is what's most important. And I that tends to be an ongoing conversation I have during these live shows is how much those core values permeate from the very beginning of those conversations with those individuals. So,
and can I say one thing on that? Because I think
jump in.
It's really impactful. Like, really take a step back if you're an entrepreneur of what your core values are, because we get lost on what we think someone else wants to hear versus what really resonates to like the people that work within that environment. And if you can align those two, that's really where the magic starts to occur.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Can you give us like what your core values are? I'm just kind of curious now. You guys just kind of revamp those and across the board.
Yeah, raise the bar, celebrate big wins, embrace wellness, bring big ideas. And then what we do is, so for example, if I hear that someone is doing some incredible work, right? What I'll do is I'll send an email and say, hey, here's $100, go out to dinner, celebrate your win with your partner or someone that you enjoy, just something small. And then each of our executive team and managers have a budget where they can do the exact same thing, and just recognize the small things that make a difference to take time to celebrate that magical moment of when something, is a huge win.
Dude, I love that. Speaking as a previous 10-year mechanical engineering on the sales side, I thought so much more about the ones that I lost than the ones that I won. And my wife got tired of hearing about it. She's like, didn't you just close this? But yet you're talking about this. And I'll raise my hand on the entrepreneur side, very similar situation. But the fact that you guys slowed down and almost force those individuals to say, look, you have done a good job. Celebrate this, not with us. I don't need to be there. Go take your spouse out, go take your friends out, go take this and celebrate what you have done because you have done a good job. That's really unique in the scenario that I have seen so far in a way to like force that individual outside to recognize the win versus sulk on the losses.
Yeah, and it creates a little bit of stickiness, right? That associate
Mm,
then is like, okay, I got rewarded and I feel great about myself, so I want to do it bigger and
do it
and
again.
and do it again, and that's what we want.
I want to dive into the bring big ideas.
Yeah,
So I kind of listed those. Like I sit here and think of like core values is trust, integrity, like the big bold letters of those lines. And I didn't hear any of out of that. I didn't hear any of those out of you because it's probably just like, yeah, we need to have trust and integrity in all the things that we
yeah,
do. I loved the bring big ideas because so often we people come up with ideas all the time, but maybe we're too scared because whether it's overstepping boundaries, whether it's I'm afraid somebody might make fun of me because maybe they've already done it and it failed, or all these different scenarios. But you encourage bringing out these big ideas. What does the process look like? What are maybe some examples of big ideas that people have brought? Because what I have found through my own process of building this business is I don't have all the good ideas. I don't have all the big ideas. And when I start collaborating and hearing other people, other mentors, entrepreneurs, and team members bringing things to me, I'm like, I had not even thought about that. Thank you. So tell me a little bit more about that, or even some examples of some big ideas that have come through the organization.
yeah. So this is probably my favorite one, just because innovation is everything to me.
Yes.
We're a company that has so much innovation. We believe if you can differentiate, right, you don't sell in a red ocean, you can sell in the blue ocean. And so we're all
Mm,
about how do we make ourselves unique and special. But here's the thing: bringing big ideas doesn't have to be on your product; it can be on process. So anyone within our organization can create something unique that can just help us fast forward and increase our effectiveness. So an example of
yeah.
one that happened recently is we bring inventory into Sunlighten, and then we have to transfer it over to a sales entity that then goes out the door. So it just
Okay.
takes a lot of time and it's cumbersome with our customers. We had an associate in accounting that developed a different process, which is called consignment, that basically allows us to get the product to the consumer in half the time as it did
Oh,
before.
wow.
So that was just a huge idea that this individual came up with. We all celebrated it because it's awesome and it sped up the process, was more efficient, and it's just one example of something that we did that was great.
How did somebody bring that idea? Like for that specific example with accounting, how did they bring that up? Was it just like a team meeting and they were like, "Hey, I got this crazy idea" type thing? How do you encourage that conversation?
Yeah, so it goes back to core values, but inside their leadership meeting, right? So accounting group meets on a weekly basis. They talk about, okay, here's our challenges. How do we overcome it? The idea came up, and when it's a good idea, it doesn't matter whose it is. If it's executable, let's drive it home.
Let's go.
Let's go. And that's exactly what happened. So
I love
it was
that.
special, and we try to do that across the entire organization because we're only as good as the weakest associate that we have. And so, if all
Fair.
associates have the mindset that they want to drive big ideas, that's how we're going to get to the next level.
Hey man, I might have to steal that one. We are going to
It's
be talking
yours.
about it, and I love I love that. It's just unique from any of the other ones that I have heard, and that's one that I can get behind too. Because innovation to me also is like it just continues one to help me thrive and be motivated in the work that I do. All right, we're nearing the end here, so we got to keep moving.
Yeah.
Um, I always like to ask this question. It's one of my favorite questions. But you've been doing this for 20 plus years. I know not every single day is sunshine and rainbows or millions of dollars in on revenue. Um, or you have to do some of the really, really hard things that business owners sometimes have to do. And I know that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. So, what continues to motivate you day in and day out to get to um, continue to drive innovation within the organization, but serve the team members that you're blessed to serve?
Yeah. So I feel like my purpose here is to make a difference and to make an impact and make this a better place. And so where I get my passion and what drives me is it could be a customer, right, that shares a life-changing story. It could be an associate that tells me the new car they were able to afford. It's different elements along those ways is what drives me. It doesn't have to be one specific thing, but it's kind of a conglomeration of all these different things that happen in a business.
Mm,
Hitting goal as a team, and knowing it was hard.
yeah.
These different elements somehow just get me fired up. It could be that big idea that comes through. It's like
Yeah.
let's go. All these different
Yeah.
aspects. It's the passion, the excitement, the competition, the camaraderie. These are all the things that drive me and get me to really enjoy what I do.
I mean, you just kind of brought it full circle. Everything that you just said there at the end was really all people related, which falls right into, truly what is more than a business. It wasn't about the profit, the revenue, the strategies that we have here and there. It's the innovation, it's the people, it's the wins that your individuals, your team members achieve, and you celebrate with them, all the way to the very first impact story you said of changing generations on the opportunities that you're able to provide. So, and I mean, it's always amazing to talk with other leaders, and someone that, just in my early experience of only being at this for 3 years, like some of the things you said today are resonating with me a lot, and what I would love to be able to implement within my organization down the road as we continue to grow. um, Man, what's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you if any of this resonated? Whether it's someone who's really looking to, it's nearing the beginning of the year, some New Year's resolutions are on their way. So, whether that's somebody that wants to take a look at one of the products you guys have, or is interested in being a part of this team where they get to hang out with you all day and celebrate these wins.
Perfect. So two ways. One is through LinkedIn. You can send me an email or a chat. The other is my email address is azack@sunlighten.com, AZACK sunlighten.com. And I'll respond to every single person who reaches out. Kansas City is a small community, and
It
we're,
is.
as entrepreneurs, we're all about pay it forward. So if you're in a business and you're having challenges, we'll talk. And my time is challenged, but we'll find time to make it work and help come up with a path forward.
Well, if anybody has troubles getting a hold of Aaron, I'll make sure to ping him as well and make that happen. But man, one of the things that truly gives me joy in this show is, through my wife and I's business, More Than a Meal, we offer a meal to you to send to a team member or community member, whether it's a time of celebration, or one of those times where life is just coming at you at all different angles. So feel free to share as much or as little as you want, but do you have somebody in mind that you would like to gift this meal to?
I do. And first of all, that's so generous. I really appreciate that. There's an individual within our organization who's very special to me. His name's Randy Brown. And he's our COO, and is soon to be our president. We haven't announced internally, but it's coming. And
Is
it's
this
kind of a
breaking
public.
news that we're going right now?
It's a little bit breaking news.
Oh my
Um,
goodness, I feel
but
honored.
with that, he's had a really tough 12 months.
Mm,
And I think him receiving a meal would really brighten his holiday season. I think it's all getting better, but he's such a wonderful person, someone I rely on and value and trust. I think since with this topic, this really resonated that he's the person I'd want to send it to.
I love that. Well, we'll connect after the show here and make sure we get everything so we can get that released to him here pretty soon. I'm not the only one that thinks this, but Andy also thinks, like, just continuing to take action, not only through words, but through the action. So, Andy, yeah, Aaron is, even in my short conversations, I have
Thanks, Andy.
thoroughly enjoyed that. So, Aaron, I can't thank you enough for coming on and just providing little snippets of just the things that you have done that have truly built an organization that cares about its people, and truly more than a business. So I really appreciate that. I know, as I kind of mentioned, that New Year's resolution is coming up soon. So I'll just kind of throw in, if anybody is looking for some health and wellness improvement going into the next year, definitely reach out to Aaron, and I'll be happy to kind of make that introduction if that's the case. Aaron, do you have any last words or sayings that you want to leave us with before we end the show?
Um, Happy holidays. I hope that, everyone has a chance to take some time and reflect during this holiday season of craziness, and just give someone you're with extra hug and tell them you love them, and life is pretty good.
I will. I'll mimic that. We've heard a lot of illnesses going on and unfortunate individuals losing lives and everything just during these holidays. And I mean, just right in line with what you guys do and the impact that you have on individuals. Take care of yourself. Stay healthy. Um, yeah, just hug those close to you a little bit tighter throughout this holiday season. So, Aaron, we're gonna leave it with that. I will let everybody know we'll be back next Thursday. Our guest next week is going to be Mark Waterbury with Base Point Automation. He's going to be coming in and talking about all things. Now, this is going to be more of a sales side conversation versus a business owner, or HR executive, in different ways that they can truly make their organization more than a business. So I'm really excited to dive in with that. Aaron, thank you again, man. I really, really appreciate it. And until next Thursday, have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you guys then.